There we are. Welcome to another edition of Biro Sports Talk. I'm your host, Biro. Man, even when I'm the one in charge, you see me gotta do some technical fixes, man. That's what I do. Tonight we have the NBA Game 6. We'll see how well I stay awake. Because once again, I'm going to try and watch this. I do think the Celtics will even the series, leading to a final destination of Game 7. Game 7, just to look it up as a if-then scenario. See, it's obviously not tomorrow, man. They give them way, way longer than what I remember them to recover. They're going to make it Sunday, aren't they? Yep. Game 7 would be Sunday. If necessary game, of course. So, have no fear as the NBA Finals are here. Because, that's what we do. We're on all platforms. Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Might as well look us up on LinkedIn, too. We're on there, too. And, of course, BioSportsTalk at gmail.com for any emailed questions or concerns, I guess. So, yeah, here we are. Yeah, I kind of agree with this next thing. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, tonight's Game 6. The Celtics are going to see what they can do to change their fortunes as they struggled. The mouse is a little jumpy, but that's okay. Usually means the batteries are about dead. Baseball. We got to go over some baseball as well. But there's so much random stuff to talk about. I'm not going to lie. So, let's start. I mean, you already know my NBA prediction. I think it will go to a Game 7 this Sunday. I agree that this could be a crowning moment for Steph. He has never gotten the MVP award. He would do anything for that award tonight. I expect him to go off. But it is Game 6, and Klay Thompson always shows up in Game 6. But in other news that I find actually very interesting, the NCAA is recommending transfer portal windows. Changes to infractions process to expedite outcomes. Intriguing. So pretty much they are trying to stabilize the transfer environment. I mean, it's pretty wild and crazy right now. Additionally, accountability for schools that receive transfer students. So did not immediately provide information what that means, but I do think, again, if you're a school that focuses strictly on transfers, that would play a big part. Sorry, but continuing. So, yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of complaints, especially with like basketball and some of this football movement that's been going on. The NCAA is trying to focus on time efficient outcomes. So instead of like a player waiting and waiting and waiting, they'd prefer people to, this is your period, this is what happens. But they will vote on it in August to see if that gets any ground. Also in college sports, the move for the Six new schools in the AAC will be July 2023. Three schools leave for the Big 12. So, what schools are leaving? That would be Cincinnati, Houston, and Central Florida. The teams arriving would be Charlotte, Florida Atlantic, North Texas, Rice, Alabama Birmingham, and Texas San Antonio. Get some of those big markets, I should say. These are not big schools by any means. But these schools, these six, will join East Carolina, Memphis, Navy, and football only. South Florida, Southern Methodist University, Temple, Tulane, Tulsa, and Wichita State, basketball and Olympic sports only. All intriguing, all interesting. I think we're getting closer and closer to less and less moves. I didn't see much movement before, but when you're looking at, say, certain conferences, you just don't see them doing it. Boy, oh boy. Like, for example, there's been some talks of would the MAC ever see anyone leave? And I know there's been some rumor mills of certain teams. I find it hard for anyone in the MAC to leave the MAC. Old Dominion was in for a little bit. Or wasn't Old Dominion, it was UMass. UMass was in for a bit. And they're gone. There we go. Let's get a little history. Yup. Not the right school there, buddy. That's so funny. Oh, that hurts. Hold on, man. This thing is so wrong. It's just, oh, it's so wrong. That's what you get for. It goes from talking about the Mac to talking about the MAC. It's just not right, man. Not right at all. But at one point, Cincinnati, Marshall, Butler, Wayne, Western Reserve. Come on, man. That's not right, dude. That's not. None of that's right. Oh, Wikipedia showing me all the wrong answers, as Wikipedia does. Once again, I thought it was UMass. I could have swore it was UMass was in the MAC for a little bit. Oh man. Yep, it was UMass. And I think it was it a football only? I think it was a football only. Right now they're an independent, UMass, which we knew. Looking, they were in the MAC for 3 years. Yep, 3 years for football, I'm pretty sure. I was gonna say I'm trying to look. Trying to see if I could find. Oh, excuse me. More information about those years, but there's not very many of those years, as they just went. Scheduled, blah, 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 blah. The two schools, yep. Yeah, and they weren't very good, obviously. They do still play MAC schools, so I see like a game against Buffalo, Toledo, some games against Toledo, Miami, Ohio, Buffalo, Toledo, a whole bunch in 2024. Buffalo, Bowling Green. I don't see Ohio anywhere. But we're off. I mean, you get the gist of what I was getting at. It would make sense for the transfer portal. And in the Imani Bates watch, because why not? A lot of people are saying Michigan's pushing for Imani Bates, which, of course, makes a lot of sense. Excuse me. Try not to yawn. But I just don't know where Imani Bates is thinking. I don't think Louisville's the choice, though. I mean, it would make sense. Louisville's done great with players similar in build and whatnot of Imani Bates. But for a kid who wants to be near Ypsilanti, Michigan makes the better choice. Play for the team that's like right next door. There's no way I see him going to Eastern. I mean, it was on his list, but come on, man. Come on. I don't see that being a chance. But speaking of baseball, because we're at a... Yeah, I'm just tired, apparently. Let's go take a look at what's going on in baseball. Because, you know, baseball's fun. So in your American League, because we always start with the American League, because that's just how it prints out. A before N. Yankees are 9.5 games ahead of the Blue Jays. 11 over the Rays, 13 over the Red Sox, and 19.5 over the Orioles. The Twins are 2 games up on the Guardians, which, because they played a lot more games than the Guardians. The Guardians haven't really played much. I'm counting a total of 6 games more for Minnesota. That's a lot. But I know Ohio's had some lack of good weather. It's been very hot lately. But yeah, the Guardians are only 2 games back. White Sox are 5, Tigers 11.5, and the worst team in baseball, the Royals, are only 14.5. Worst team in baseball because they are 21-41. Not very good. And then AL West, you got the Astros, Rangers are 9.5 back. The Angels are 10.5 back. Just on a terrible skid. Their skid is about, it's on par with the Oakland A's, which is 2-8 in their last 10. Which is just bad. 11 games back are the Mariners, and of course, Athletics 18 back. They are right there, though, with everyone else. In the National League, you got the Mets leading the East. The Braves on a tear 14-win streak. Ouch. That's great, though. 4 games back. The Phillies are 8.5 back. Marlins 11.5. Nationals 18.5. The Cardinals are now in first of the Central. Game and a half ahead of the Brewers. 10.5 over the Pirates. Cubs are 13 back as are the Reds. Reds for once again blowing up their lineup. Not doing super bad. In the NL West, though, where everybody was at one point doing very well, you got the Padres in first right now. Half game back is the Dodgers. 4.5, the Giants. Diamondbacks are 11. And, of course, the Rockies are 13.5 back. Rockies, of course, still doing very bad. Right now, the worst team trending would have to be the Cubs. Cubs have lost 10 straight, which is just, oof, that hurts. And a lot of those look like they could be at home, which, oof, again, you can't have a bad home record. Like, when you compare the Cubs and the Reds' bad record is due to a lot of away games. The Cubs' bad record, a lot of home games. And that's just, you can't have that. So there you have baseball. I mean, we usually breeze through baseball. Man, it is the middle of June, man. It's crazy to think about. We are cruising through the year of 2022 after a very slow 2020. But announced today as well, the World Cup 2026 host cities revealed a lot of venues in the U.S., Mexico, and Canada. The cities officially selected to host the World Cup matches in the U.S. Apparently, it's just North American. What is this? Trying to figure out what's going on. FIFA has announced the 16 North American cities that will host matches for the 2026 World Cup. There you go. These are all locations hosting the World Cup games. You got New York, MetLife Stadium. You got Los Angeles, SoFi Stadium. You got Dallas, AT&T Stadium. You got San Francisco and Levi's Stadium. Miami, Hard Rock Stadium. Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Seattle, Lumen Field, Houston, NRG Stadium, Philadelphia, Lincoln Financial Field, Kansas City, Arrowhead Stadium, and Boston, Gillette Stadium. Mexico and Canada, you got Mexico City, Monterrey, Guadalajara, I mispronounced that terribly, I'm sorry, Toronto and Vancouver. I mean, it's great to hear the following candidates missed out on the selection, which would have been Baltimore and Washington, Orlando, Cincinnati was one, Nashville, Denver, and Edmonton. Cincinnati surprises me only because when you think soccer in Ohio, you think of the Crew, man. You don't think of Cincinnati FC. You think of the Crew. Columbus. And now I'm not even going to get to see any of these. So there we go. Major League Soccer. Pretty sure Cincinnati FC is still on there. Pretty sure they're still there. Pretty sure Cincinnati. Yep, FC Cincinnati. Sorry. Ooh, I said it wrong. I put it in the wrong order. FC Cincinnati. And Columbus. Crew. Yeah, Columbus Crew. Or the Crew, as some in the know would say. Oh boy. Oh boy. What a night. Rushing through things all over the place. Man, I'm excited to see this matchup tonight. I want to see how Boston responds. The game tonight is in Boston. That's another reason why I'm leaning towards Boston winning this and forcing that game 7. I mean, we've yet to have a truly close game in these finals, man. You look at it, it's a 12-point game, almost 20-point game. It would be 19, a 16. There's a 10. 10's pretty close, and 10 again. But again, if I had to predict the score, oh man, I'm not very good at that. Looking at how the scores have been, I'm going to say it'd be 110 to 100. I think it's going to be a 10-point game. 110 to 100. And I'm going Celtics because, again, they're at home, and I think they're going to force this game 7. Speaking of the NBA, though, this has still thrown me off so much. I'm not going to lie. There was a trade by the Rockets and Mavericks, which also included the 26th pick in the draft. So the Mavericks are acquiring Christian Wood in exchange for the 26th pick in the NBA draft. The 4 players that are also being traded are Trey Burke, Sterling Brown, Marquise Chris, and Boban Marjanovic. Boban, my favorite big guy in the league. I still can't believe that's a thing right now. With this trade, though, the Rockets have the number 3, 17, and 26th pick. That's a lot of picks, man. And a draft that's kind of deep. I mean, you got guys. You got a lot of guys. No one's transcendent, but I think you got guys. Role players. This is the draft for role players. Sure, there's top-end talent. There's always top-end talent. But that's what I would mention and say. Well, seeing as things are just coming to a close already, let me just say I do appreciate those who do stop by during, after, before, even if you chat before. As you all know, I am the host, Biro. You can always email us at birosportstalk@gmail.com. And of course, we're on all sorts of platforms: Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, and LinkedIn. I mean, we have a page on LinkedIn. The more who follow the LinkedIn, the more I could probably post to it. But of course, we also got to talk about Ever Retro. So Ever Retro, which is not on this side, it is on this side. It's always on this side. Ever Retro's got your gaming needs. I mean, I have a great hoodie from them. I have a Mario hat. I got a Switch Pro controller. They hooked me up with a great accessories. I love the feel of the controller. I love using it. Racing steering wheel for racing games. I'm going to have to bust out for one of these streams. But I also got to get back into my rhythm of streaming, man. I'll be honest, I've been worn out by work. And I mean worn out by work. Passing out yesterday basically at 6. It's terrible. It's nothing by work. It's just me running myself into the ground, basically. I hate to say it that way, but it's so true. I've always been a hard worker, and of course, when I work hard, I just tire myself out. I do appreciate it, guys, and like I said, hopefully we will see a stream here soon. try to finish up Final Fantasy so we can move on to something else, something a little more exciting. So I appreciate everyone's time. I will see you next time.